Hello, I'm Robert Kelly, and today on Record All Monsters, Gamera vs. Barugon, surprisingly good sequels, and dollar store monsters. At this stage in their development, it's a little hard to talk about the Gamera movies. There was no clear direction for the newly formed film series to go, and the first movie's director, Noriaki Yuasa, had been at odds with his studio during the production of 1965's film. He'd wanted to gear Gamera the Giant Monster more toward children, but they had created a kind of tonal dissonance by pulling against his instincts and trying to make a more adult film. Now that it had been a tremendous success, the executives at Daiei had decided to give Gamera a prestige sequel. The first step they took was to demote Yuasa from director to only working as the special effects director, a task he'd done while also helming the film's drama scenes in the 1965 movie. They brought on Shigeo Tanaka to direct the more adult-oriented Gamera vs. the Icemen from Outer Space. Tanaka had been directing since 1931, and I can find very little information on his earlier features, but he went on to direct many of the Woman Gambler series of films, which starred this movie's lead actress, Kyoko Inami. Now, obviously, Gamera vs. the Icemen from Outer Space isn't the movie we wound up getting. But that film, according to John LeMay's big book of Japanese giant monster movies, The Lost Films, would have featured Gamera escaping from the Z-Plan rocket to find Earth being frozen by men from outer space, trying to take it over. Gamera presents them with a problem, so they throw their own giant monster at him, a huge ice monster. Screenwriter Nissan Takahashi kept the plot about freezing the Earth, giving that power to the newly created monster, Barugon. If you're new to the genre of giant monster movies and have been listening to these in order, you may be saying, "Now wait a minute, cowboy, hold your horses. We talked about Baragon being on Frankenstein Conquers the World a year before this movie, 4 whole episodes ago." And you are right. Have a cookie. We did talk about Baragon then, but this is a wholly original quadrupedal horn-faced dinosaur monster. The key difference is that this guy breathes ice instead of a pink laser, and doesn't have adorable elephant ears. And his name is Barugon, not Baragon. How could you possibly confuse them? I can't find a source I completely trust on this, and it seems to be backward speculation on their part, but Gojipedia states that Baragon gets his name for the Japanese word for rose, bara, due to the scales on his back resembling the flower's petals, and an abbreviation of the English word dragon. The generally more reliable Wikizilla is silent on this matter. Well, and now, this movie's monster, Barugon, takes his name from an Aboriginal word for crocodile, and the same abbreviation of dragon. That's according to August Ragone and Jason Varney's excellent commentary on Shout Factory's DVD of the film, where much of my information on this episode is coming from. And will be one of the prizes for the winner of the Gargantuan Gamera giveaway. But I digress. The budget on this film was almost 4 times as much as the previous one, so it was shot in widescreen and color. There are a few remnants of the solely and explicitly adult film Daiei initially intended to make outside of its generally darker tone to the story and more violence between human characters, and it really is the more compelling of the two films. This puts it in a very strange position for a Gamera film. This is the kaiju series I most often come to poke fun at or just turn off my brain and watch men in monster suits wrestle in miniature cities while I do the dishes or play with my toys. This film is better than that, though, and it reflects its increased budget despite its rushed production. This movie came out in April of 1966, less than 5 months after the first Gamera. So what do you do with a Gamera movie that's too good to be a Gamera movie? This is a question that no one will really tackle with another serious Gamera movie for 30 years. And while Gamera vs. Barugon wasn't a flop by any means, its increased budget meant it had to make even more money than its extremely successful predecessor, and it didn't. I've heard from many different sources, books, commentaries, documentaries, that children ran wild in the theater in between monster scenes. This is a 101-minute long movie, and kids watching it would have already sat through the first Daimajin, as these two films were released together on a double bill. That movie itself is 84 minutes long, and also very deliberately paced. By 1966, giant monster movies were becoming more and more blatantly aimed at children. And children weren't here to watch grown men fight over jungle treasure or diamonds. They wanted to see monsters messing it up, dang it! And Noriaki Yuasa delivered on his end as special effects director. While his monsters are a little more cartoony than Tsuburaya's, they're still pretty effective, especially in this film. The monster fights are filled with Eastman-colored green and purple monster blood, and the long-standing pattern of Gamera losing the first fight and then coming back to finish the job during the finale after the human characters have proven incapable of doing so is established here. So, like with its predecessor, Dai checked the receipts and learned and adapted, keeping what worked and tossing out what didn't. We'll see Gamera in his next adventure early in Season 2 of Record All Monsters, and see how the disparate elements of this film and the previous year's Titanic Terrapin outing came together under Yuasa to create something truly unique that would shift the course of the genre like nothing since 1962 had done. At last, Godzilla had a worthy opponent in terms of cultural influence and box office dominance, and the fight would get ugly and desperate for both of them in the next decade. But these are the good times, artistically and financially, for the giant monster movie genre. And on our next episode, our season finale, we'll discuss what many consider to be the pinnacle of the art form. We'll see you, and what you think about it, then. Hello, I'm Robert Kelly, host and writer of Record All Monsters, and this is an ad for Anchor. That's right, it's an ad for Anchor, and if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. I was really intimidated at first to start this show until I heard about Anchor, and there were a few things that made me feel more at ease to begin. First of all, it's free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer, and Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so that it can be heard on a number of platforms, including whichever one you're listening to it on right now. You can even make a little money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And even their ads are easy. The mandatory call to action is something I can state freely. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Doesn't that feel good? This has been an ad for Anchor, and I've been Robert Kelly, host and writer of Record All Monsters.
Cool. Somebody sent it to me before. And I was like, this is a real thing.
It used to be like a Netflix show. Like, I don't care if it's Taco Bell sponsored. I want Taco Bell's Pacific Rim. Because look at Max, and they're fighting kaiju for nacho fries. These are our Mexican spices. Hell yeah, people in the roster.
It's time for you to make a run for the border.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can the final kaiju be the Chihuahua dog?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's going to be Godzilla 1998.
Oh,
because of that tie-in. Because of that tie-in back in the day.
I had a Godzilla one. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna count us in, but because I already started recording. But I think this conversation they gotta be kept in there.
Oh God!
I think it's gotta be kept in there.
Sorry.
So I'll remind you guys to real quick keep it clean, just for the sake of my editing.
Oh yeah.
And anyway, welcome back to Record All Monsters, everybody. I'm Robert Kelly. As you may have guessed from that little bit, Parker and Q are back to continue talking about the illustrious Gamera series, and of course, Courtney is here too. All right. So we watched the second Gamera movie. Just hit my guitar.
No.
Well, you have to keep that in.
The second Gamera movie, Gamera versus Barugon, and Parker, you watch the Gamera movies kind of like I do, but it's been a while on this one.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
And Q, you are discovering the Gamera movies as we go along.
I know
this
what
journey.
I knew of Gamera's existence, but I never sat down and watched the movie.
So, impressions.
This one had, like we were talking about it, it's got a really slow build-up.
Mm-hmm.
Some mild action, not a lot of monster fighting. It's like right after the beginning and then right at the end.
Yeah.
So it's a sleepy one, but it's still good.
Yeah, it was for me. It was kind of slow.
You were snoring in parts of it.
I did. My eyes got heavy at some point.
I have an excuse. I was driving all day and then we went to the beach all day. So
There is a clear difference in these types of movies between this and Godzilla. These movies are pretty, comparatively speaking, pretty brutal compared to a Godzilla movie.
Yes,
more,
they are.
more blood, more monster blood,
A lot.
which is blueberry wildberry flavor.
He got stabbed in the cheek by a hand. Like, that was pretty intense.
Gamera was making some barbacoa there.
Yeah. Get that soft cheek meat.
Overall, though, I did enjoy it. So I enjoyed it. Look forward to seeing some more.
And you will get it. So this is the second to last movie episode of our first season. But I want to have y'all back early next season as we continue in the Gamera franchise. And like I told you, Q, last time you were here, these just get nuttier and nuttier. Can you give us some of the things that made you kind of
That was
kind of freaked you out?
this movie.
The rainbow.
The rainbow. The rainbow was what freaked me out.
The
The
Skittles
rainbows to me are happy. It signifies happiness and everything that's good. And I was like, oh, cool, he made a rainbow, and he just extinguishes his entire fleet of tanks and missiles with his rainbow. It's just, it is just mind-boggling.
Courtney, you like this guy because of the rainbow, right?
Yes. Beautiful.
But yeah, I mean, how does that? So we said that Plan Z was a 6 out of 10 on the craziness scale on the first one. Would you agree with that assessment at this point? Yeah. After Rainbow Monster and that tongue death.
That was a highlight of the movie for me, because that was a bad dude, and I was like, they gotta do something to get this guy back.
The Q's getting away with a lot.
And then this is the first time I've seen a kaiju literally single a person out. Well, correction, when Godzilla blew that guy off the bridge, off the building. But this was way worse. Way worse.
So for our listeners who may not have seen the movie, which you should, there's a public domain version that's available like on YouTube under the title War of the Monsters. There's a beautifully pristine version available for streaming on the Arrow Video app, and of course the Blu-rays. And if you enter our Gargantuan Gamera giveaway, which this is the last week to do, you can win this movie and pretty much all the other Gamera movies on DVD.
Fancy.
You guys are ineligible.
Gave us so much hope, Ron. But I do gotta say, I'm very jealous of this beautiful Blu-ray double box set.
That's gorgeous. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they go
the other way. Yeah. For those of you who don't know, the Gamera, I didn't get the big fancy set. I got the one that came out a few months after that, and it's two covers. And they go side by side and make a nice little
portrait.
Gamera through the ages.
Yeah.
And his crazy friends.
Gamera pals.
Parker, Gamera baby.
Yeah, oh my god. Destruction and love.
Parker was pointing out the monster Giron.
My favorite.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that.
We'll get to that eventually. So for those who haven't seen this movie, what happens essentially is this is a longer, more adult-oriented movie than the last one, which we touched on in the essay, because the first one made a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so the studio Daiei was like, well, now we can give it a real director and a real budget and put it in color.
And make it a movie.
And they weren't really sure what direction giant monster movies were going in the future, which we know now from our vantage point in 2021 that they were becoming basically kids' movies. But up to this point, they'd been either family movies or adult-oriented horror movies, basically. And the initial draft of the script, everyone on the island was naked. They're like, yeah, this is going to be an adult-oriented movie. And
National Geographic.
They demoted the previous film's director, Noriaki Yuasa, who y'all remember when we recorded that last time, I fumbled over his name a lot. I forgot it.
Yeah.
But now I know it, since I've... it's just burned in my brain now.
Now it's there.
Noriaki Yuasa. And they demoted him just to doing the special effects, which were the best scenes. And, and then they brought in Shigeo Tanaka, who directed a series called Woman Gambler for Daiei, which actually starred the actress who played Karen, or Karen.
Karen.
The exotically named Karen. I'd like to see the manager of Japan about this monster.
Exactly.
But so some guys steal an opal from Karen's home island, but it turns out to be a monster egg of Barugon.
And it hatches very cutely.
Very, very Jurassic Park-esque.
Yeah.
Yes. What species is this? Barugon?
Barugon.
You have Barugon too?
You bred Barugons?
Love it.
Because when we brought up, Island John Hammond, I was
Oh, yes. And there's a doctor who lives on the island and dresses like John Hammond.
has a cane.
He's got a cane, he's got the Panama hat, the untucked white pailletta, and the linen suit.
Or would it be that John Hammond dresses like him?
Well, I mean, that's just how old guys dress on islands.
You gotta be luxurious.
Well, I mean, in Dinosaurus too, Courtney, the guy who owned the island, dressed in the pailletta and the
silk pants.
Yeah.
Like, it's just a thing.
Yeah. If we ever go to a tropical island, I think I have to legally dress like that. I would be arrested if I didn't.
Yeah.
But so anyway, they go to this island with John Hammond, and he's like, don't go into the woods. The natives say don't go in there, but they're like, but that's where the treasure is.
Treasure.
And of course, one guy betrays everyone.
Shocker.
Before that scorpion scene.
Oh yeah.
That took forever. And he shot the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was just like, I'm gonna let that guy hang out. And while this guy is telling everyone his life's plan for this money,
I'm so happy we found this.
He was innocent. He was blind to joy, and then he violently died by a scorpion.
Instantly.
The scorpion took forever to sting him, though.
The scorpion was contemplating weighing the options.
Those scorpions are jerks in all places.
And yeah, so this bad guy lets the scorpion sting his buddy, and then he throws 4 grenades
yes.
at the other guy in the cave who they're hunting with, who gets saved mysteriously somehow by Karen.
Cave
Like
gang.
yeah.
There was only one way in, one way out, and it was blocked by rocks, but somehow he got out.
Karen and Dr. Hammond
Saved him.
apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And then he and Karen go back to Japan, where Baragon has hatched from the opal and is causing trouble.
Got big quick. So.
Got real big. This movie is delightful and bonkers, like the previous Gamera movie, like all the Gamera movies, but it does take a lot longer to get started.
Yeah, the build-up's very long.
And we watched the international dub that Daiei produced in Japan this time. I considered putting on the AIP dub because it's funny.
Oh, is it?
But it's a little funnier than this one, but I did kind of want to emphasize to you guys that this is a slightly better movie than it really deserves to be. So that was Gamera versus Barugon. Any other thoughts, guys?
I look forward to watching the rest of them.
I wish it had more action, but it has just enough. But
Yeah, well, the second fight is longer, but
Yeah.
less
Yeah, the last fight was kind of lackluster.
less stuff going on. You're kind of like, oh boy, here comes Gamera.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of like...
Gamera been taking a nap for most of the movie.
Yeah. And you just dragged him into the lake.
Yeah, Barugon has some very strange powers. We alluded to the tongue death earlier, and what happens is Barugon wraps his he has this tongue that's like 3 times the length of his body that also shoots ice spray like Sub-Zero. I'm not a video game guy, but you guys were making that reference.
Yeah.
So I just figured I'd steal it.
That's all good.
And just wraps it around him and eats him.
But yeah, that's the thing that goes. It's funny, but it also is like if he's gigantic and the tip of his tongue is gigantic, how can the tip of his tongue like oven mitt this man?
Yes.
And then reel him in. He should have taken the entire boat.
Like,
Yeah, the boat and guy.
but that was the guy who betrayed the other two in the cave. And
then
stole the opal.
the Japanese army security, like he was able to get on a military vessel, but not being sighted or seen in a speedboat with his with a pistol. Everyone else
put in a lot of work in this movie.
He just keeps shooting things the whole movie.
That's his goal. Shoot people, get money.
Yeah.
I would anticipate his rap album.
Gems, get money.
Shoot people, get money.
Opal and money.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, last chance. Anything else?
No. I thought it covers it.
Okay, we're gonna take a quick break, and I had a really difficult time finding promotional material from the era for this one. So instead of a trailer, y'all are gonna hear a like the Good Times VHS. Guess who's back in town? It's Gamera.
He's here with your monster pals.
Yeah. So Gamera babies. We'll be right back after this.
Free hysteria.
I will spend all of my time to make a Gamera Babies shirt.
The newest cult classic star on your VCR returns in glittering color. Hey, it's Gamera! Gamera! Yes, Gamera's back by popular demand to share the spotlight with a tough new contender. Witness the fury as our fire-breathing screen star gets the cold shoulder from the new kid on the block.
Oh my God.
Savor the action as the rookie Baragon delivers the full spectrum of destruction to his hard-shelled opponent in this thunderous spectacle of epic proportions. What skills! What strength! What a tale! It's the colossal clash that's kept the world trembling. Gamera's back and Baragon's got him. In Gamera versus Baragon.
Okay, welcome back once again to Record All Monsters, where we're here to play the game show. Back in the Habit, Cruise Control, Electric Boogaloo. The game. The sequel!
I'd watch that movie.
That's intense.
So today's movie is the first sequel to the movie Gamera, the Giant Monster. Despite this, the film is quite different tonally from the original, and has an angle that was abandoned by the third film, Gamera vs. Gauss. So for today's game, we'll be talking about movie sequels that weren't quite what audiences were expecting. You have to tell me what movie the plot I summarize is a sequel to. So let's play Back in the Habit, Cruise Control, Electric Boogaloo, the game, the sequel! No prizes will be awarded, and no penalties will be taken. Alright, are you ready to play?
Yeah.
Courtney, would you be able to keep score?
Yes.
Parker on one hand, Q on the other?
Yes.
You won't eat the other one.
I also want to point out that the three of us first name initials PQR, like that weird little part of the alphabet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was meant to be.
Anyway, in what movie's sequel does Dolph Lundgren go undercover as a substitute kindergarten teacher
Kindergarten Cop.
to catch a Russian crime lord who has stolen a USB drive with sensitive information on it? What movie is that the sequel to?
You know, I'm a little embarrassed there. I overshot on that one because I was thinking Kindergarten Cop because I watched that recently, but then you said Dolph Lundgren.
It is Dolph Lundgren.
You know what?
Can you put your phone down?
Cheater! Disqualified. You know what? I'm going to have to pass because I do not know. As much as I love Dolph Lundgren, He-Man and Rocky IV are about all I know.
You got me.
Okay. Well,
either.
that is a sequel to Kindergarten Cop.
I was right?
You were right. That's Kindergarten Cop 2, creatively titled Kindergarten Cop 2.
I didn't know there was a sequel. Where have I been?
It was released in 2016.
What?
Okay.
26 years after the original.
Oh, so
with
we get...
no returning cast, creative, or characters.
Not even like the kid who played the kid?
No one.
Oh.
No one came back.
It didn't have like the rock in it or something?
No, Dolph Lundgren.
Or old Arnold Schwarzenegger?
No, Dolph Lundgren.
Oh my gosh. That's news to me.
That's wow.
You get a half point.
Okay, I'll take it.
This game is one of the most difficult ones I've come up with.
I'm going to have to
So-
brush up on a lot of things.
Yeah. This one's gonna be hard.
Okay.
I've been letting everyone off too easily
Oh.
these past few episodes. It's not gonna happen ever again. Second question. In what movie's sequel does a Chicago Fire Department arson investigator track down a weapons dealer who may be using the fires as cover?
Oh, dang. I know you don't know it.
Oh, can I get a lifeline? Or
No.
No hints?
No.
No, okay. Maybe give him like a hint because you gotta understand, Robert. Like I still haven't gotten him to watch like
Real movies?
Reservoir Dogs or like real movies. I can kind of get by.
Okay,
He just.
Kurt Russell's not in this movie.
Okay, okay.
Oh man. Yeah, you weren't kidding. This is.
I don't know this one either. I haven't seen these, so.
What was the question again?
In what movie's sequel does a Chicago Fire Department arson investigator track down a weapons dealer who may be using the fires as cover?
Oh. Yeah. I tap out. I can't. I don't know.
Well, I was going to see Demolition Man.
You're way.
Maybe Stay Out too.
That's a sequel to 1991's Backdraft.
Oh.
Okay, see, I've seen Backdraft, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't have never thought. What year did that movie come out?
I didn't make a note of that. I've seen all of these movies. I will say that.
Well, I've seen Backdraft, but
And I've seen the sequels as well, specifically for this game in some cases.
okay.
But this one I had seen on TV. I don't remember what year it was from.
Okay, I'll have to look.
But
Just check that out.
Kurt Russell does not return, but Donald Sutherland and one of the Baldwins do. I don't know which Baldwin, though.
Bald.
Not the important.
Not the famous Baldwin. The other ones are all famous for being Baldwins.
Yeah.
Basically. We were watching the Simpsons episode with Alec Baldwin in it.
Oh yeah.
And they were very kind to him in how they drew him. Like, to the point where you don't recognize that it's supposed to be Alec Baldwin.
You're like, and that was kind of.
I would recognize that voice anywhere. I've seen Beetlejuice so many times.
Which Baldwin was in Cat in the Hat?
Alec.
Okay.
Alec Baldwin.
Okay, that guy. Okay.
He's in most major movies.
Okay.
Most major movies, eh? Question 3. In what film's sequel does Jessica Harper of Phantom of the Paradise and Suspiria
I know this one.
leave her husband to be a TV star at a studio where people are forced to play inane game shows around the clock? Also, there is some mad science.
It's a sequel to a musical.
I don't watch musicals. I'm a guy.
That's sexist.
Sorry. not into it.
That's okay, just don't blame your gender.
Oh no, not playing and shit. Courtney, you'll have to give yourself a point because I don't know.
Okay.
Q, any
Oh wait, oh man,
It's shock treatment, right?
say what I've never.
Well, that's the
gotten.
name of the movie. That's not what it's a sequel to.
It's a sequel to.
No.
Oh, is it
There's actually a hint somewhere in this room.
That's very vague.
Somewhere in this room. Somewhere in this
I mean,
room.
is it Rent?
Somewhere in this room.
Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Yes!
Okay, so
What are you saying, Q?
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes!
I promise we're not stupid listeners.
That would be the Rocky Horror Picture Show sequel, Shock Treatment, which I personally think is the better film, though I don't think either is
We'll have to just
very
have a day
great.
where we can watch all of these sequels with you because, like, I apparently have been living under a rock.
Well,
These are hard ones.
these are very hard questions. I like Shock Treatment better than Rocky Horror Picture
Oh, okay.
Show. And I don't think either one is, like, a great movie. But Rocky Horror is one of those ones that you have to see, like, with a group of people.
Yeah, because it's kind of got a place in pop culture.
Yeah. And, like, Shock Treatment, I think, like, you can watch that and be entertained by yourself. All right. Fourth question. So now it's 1 to 1.5. Right, Courtney?
Yep.
Wait, what did you get a point on?
Rocky Horror Picture
Well, don't I get a point too? I said it first.
Yeah. That's why you have 1.5.
Oh, so I've got a point, a half point
half
advantage.
half.
Yes, half point
okay.
advantage for Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah.
Okay. What movie's third installment kills Jim Carrey off screen before following his son as he tries to prove his mother's innocent in the case of a kidnapped panda?
Is it The Mask 2?
No.
He said
Jim Carrey was The Mask 1.
the third movie, right?
It's the third movie.
So it's the
Okay.
third movie in his sequels of
The first two movies have Jim Carrey,
what?
but he's killed off screen at the beginning of this third
Tell me
movie.
Mr. Popper's Penguins had a threequel.
Did it even have a sequel?
I don't even think so.
It has a book sequel.
Oh.
Mr. Pooper's Penguins.
What?
I thought Q would have gotten it because it sounds like, you know, That sounds like a mask thing. Missing Panda. Ace Ventura? No, 3?
Yeah. I'll give that to both
That's
of you.
right, there is another one.
There is a third one.
The third movie in...
The mask.
This is the third movie in the Ace Ventura series.
Oh.
Ace Ventura Jr., Pet Detective.
That's right.
That's all anyone knows about it because no one has actually seen it. No.
I thought they were going to redo or bring
I bet you anything that movie's on Laserdisc.
And this whole time I was like, there was a second Mask movie?
There was. It started...
Jamie
Jamie
I'll
Kennedy.
watch it.
It's bad. Most of the trailer was a CGI dancing baby.
Yeah.
Oh. That was real popular around
There was a
then.
cartoon, right? The mascot a
There's
cartoon.
a mask cartoon.
There was a
I
mask
think it's an
cartoon.
Ace Ventura cartoon as well.
There was an Ace Ventura.
Yeah.
Jim Carrey was in it. There was a
I think
cartoon.
the mask was the only one that got a video game.
That would be fun.
There was a. It
Yeah,
wasn't
there was a Super Nintendo one, right?
Yeah, I played it. You pull out you had the big old hammer you pull out and the wooga horn and it was a platformer like an apartment.
Yeah.
In the Wooga horn.
Yeah.
All right, last question. This game has been hard.
It is.
Brutal.
I feel bad now.
It is not easy now.
Last question. What movie's sequel recasts Daryl Hannah with Maid Marian from Robin Hood Men in Tights and basically ignores everything that happened in the original so that some guy who used to be Tom Hanks can save his failing business in New York City and she can steal a dolphin?
I was gonna say Big, but that's not Big.
Close.
Oh man, yeah. Whatever early Tom Hanks movies in my repertoire are like Big and Money Pit and like Turner and Hooch.
Which is now a TV show
Really close.
that I was shocked that they didn't put Colin Hanks in.
Yeah,
Which I understand why Colin Hanks wouldn't want to do it, but I also... It's Disney. Like, you don't turn down Disney money.
yeah. You don't think that is money.
So it's a movie that had Daryl Hannah and Tom Hanks. They've both been recast in the
Would
sequel.
have been funny if it was like Tom Hanks in Echo the Dolphin, the movie.
That would be intense.
But it's enough to... No, I don't know.
Here's a hint, it has a mermaid.
And they
That's
try,
not-
and they try to steal a dolphin.
They try to steal a dolphin.
SeaWorld. That's SeaWorld. What's the other one?
Free
Free
Willy?
Willy?
No, it's not Free Willy. It's not
Free
Free
Willy.
Willy. Tom Hanks, Dolphin, Maid Marian, Mermaid.
Flipper.
Oh, crap.
Exactly one person is listening to this screaming, "It's blank! It's this movie!
I hope so. I really hope so.
I really do.
Listener, I'm sorry. I gotta give it. I don't know.
Look at me, man.
I'm trying to think of all the. It's not Waterworld, that's for sure.
That is Splash 2, which is the sequel to Splash. I'm sorry about this whole game. Much like Daryl Hannah in the first Splash, the idea for it didn't have legs.
I never even seen Splash because
I
I
never
wasn't
even
into
know
like. This movie's about a dolphin. It doesn't.
Splash 2 is about a dolphin.
Oh, what's Splash 1 about?
Daryl Hannah's a mermaid and she falls in love with Tom Hanks.
But when she doesn't want him to know that she's a mermaid, and when she gets wet or like is around water, she turns into a mermaid.
Okay, that's kind of bringing back some sort of memory.
I had sisters, so I saw that several times growing
There's a
up.
part where she does like a dolphin screech in the store, and it breaks all the TVs.
Okay. Kind of.
I have no idea.
Okay. I'll have to guess.
This one may have been too hard. They still scored a couple of points.
Yeah, that's for something. Yeah, it counts for something. Still win though.
So
Bonus question for me to get a redemption shot on Parker.
okay, we can do that. We can do a bonus question, but it's going to be related to the movie we just watched today.
Okay.
Okay. because I got to come up with this off the top of my head. But not the movie you're thinking of. It's not Gamera. The movie we watched before.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Just so y'all know, we watched the movie Massacre Time right before we watched
Oh, you're
Gamera.
talking about... Okay, I thought you meant...
It's a spaghetti western.
We came in, about like 45
It's like
minutes?
Yeah, about halfway through.
To the end, yeah.
It's a spaghetti western directed by Italian horror maestro Lucio Fulci, one of his earliest films. And it starred... I said the actor's name several times.
You did.
If you can remember the name of
Fail, we will fail.
the name of the actor. Okay, I'll give you his first name,
Okay.
and if you can remember his last name. Okay, that's gonna be too hard. The actor was Franco Nero.
I wouldn't have gotten
Oh,
that.
yeah.
I said it like 100 times.
Robert, we were watching them go bang, bang, pew, pew. And a guy get whipped 100 times.
Yeah.
What was?
And then his mom got shot. And a guy really accurate with a long rifle, pointing it in a direction not at people.
So, who was? And it's gonna be multiple choice.
Okay.
Okay.
Who was Franco Nero's character's father?
Oh, yeah, you answered before me.
Yeah, Q got it.
Okay.
Q got it. So you have won one of the 3 appearances
Okay.
Yeah.
in terms of versus Parker. 3 to 2.5.
Yeah.
Congratulations. And watch Massacre Time if you're an adult. It's fun. It's fun.
Can't spell slaughter without laughter, people.
There's some great camera movement in there. There's this one scene in a bar, like it was right before y'all got here, where there just was a big brawl in the bar, and the camera starts at the end of the bar facing the door, and as a bunch of people are walking toward the door, the camera starts to move in the opposite direction down the bar. So it's just really interesting movement with like
They got a lot of interesting shots in that.
the camera and the people moving in different directions.
Like the shot he did where it's that empty room, that house.
Oh, through the
And
two windows.
Through the 2 windows, and they're at the other end of the window.
But this isn't a spaghetti western podcast. I may have one someday, but not now. So I'll see y'all on the other side to give you the rundown of what's happening next time, and bye to you. We're probably going to hang out a lot more. All right. So that was our look at Gamera versus Barugon, also known as War of the Monsters. That movie will, of course, be included with 11 other Gamera films in our Gargantuan Gamera giveaway, which will be next week. And as a bonus for everyone, since there can only be one winner, after the giveaway, we'll take an ad break and then come back with a quick look at all 3 Daimajin films. Thanks to Ben for sending me links to where I could actually see those movies. And thanks to John C. for pointing out to me that the Arrow box set has been released. I'm going to go ahead and get that whenever I can. Might not be for a minute. But that's coming out next week with the Gargantuan Gamera giveaway. What we're going to do is we're going to take all the names from all the posts across our 3 social medias, and we're going to put them in a hat or maybe a Hellboy lunchbox. And Courtney is going to pull the name. I'm going to read the name. And maybe there's a second prize now. Who can say? And so the first prize, of course, is the Gamera Showa era on DVD, the Gamera Heisei trilogy on Blu-ray, a t-shirt of your choice, or you can pick the winner t-shirt that I designed, a certificate entitling you to the love and respect of your peers. So that's next week. Week after that, we have our season finale. I'm still working on this one. Season finale of the main episodes, I should say. I'm still working on it, but it is on War of the Gargantuas. And the week after that, we're going to have something I'm calling the first annual Rammies, and we hope to have one at the end of every season. And I'll give you more details when we get closer to that, probably at the end of the War of the Gargantua episode. If you are interested, I'm bringing this up. I try not to talk too much about my personal life on this show, but I have, for like about the past 10 years, had chronic knee pain, and it's not fun. Last summer, I was able to get a steroid shot to my knee, which lessened the pain almost to nothing. And it's kind of started to wear off over the past about the past month. In the past few weeks, the pain has been almost daily again, and it's getting more and more intense. It's kind of embarrassing. I don't really like to do this. I have put up a GoFundMe. I'm not going to put the link in the description because I don't really... Again, I'm embarrassed. If you are interested in donating to that, if you're interested, you can message us at any of our social medias. On Facebook, search Record All Monsters Podcast. On Twitter, at Monsters Record. Instagram, at recordallmonsters.pod. And email recordallmonsterspod@gmail.com. Really, even just your well wishes, thoughts, and prayers are enough. But if you do feel inclined to give, you can contact me at any of those places, and I will send you the link. And I really appreciate the community that's grown up around this show over the past few months, since November. It's fun. It's fun to do this for you guys and gals and everyone in between.
Non-binary pals.
Guys, gals, non-binary pals, as Courtney says over there. Also, thank you, Courtney, for recording the previous episode's outro, because I was not feeling good. Truthfully, I'm not feeling good today either, but now it's just my knee. And my thumb. I jammed my thumb earlier today. I would think it was broken if I wasn't able to move it. Wiggle.
I did that too. You must be weary.
So yeah, I guess that's it. We'll see you next week, and between now and then, remember that monsters are your friends.